Ladies and gentlemen, KT's Elizabeth McQueen.
Hey guys, if you have any kids in the audience tonight, now might be a good time to take them to get a snack, because we're about to talk about adult things. You see, I am here with y'all tonight to answer a question from a listener named Rachel.
I was wondering about how the rumors of the swingers in Steiner Ranch started, and specifically the pineapple.
And what are the rumors exactly? I mean, I feel like you know, but it's that Steiner Ranch, that suburban subdivision about 30 minutes northwest of Austin, is rife with swingers. I mean, you guys know, right? Swingers, couples who have sex with other couples. You know, think wife swapping and key parties. And the pineapple that Rachel was asking about, well, Rachel had heard that pineapples, or more specifically, upside down pineapples, are a sign that swingers use to communicate their openness to swinging. Well, Rachel told me that she didn't think any of it was true. The thing about the swingers or the thing about the pineapples, what she really wanted to know is why we all think there are swingers in Steiner Ranch. So I got to work. And the first place I turned was Reddit. And I found this epic thread about this very subject, and it turns out that this is a burning question on many an Austinite's mind. And as I read the thread, I kind of found that people were as intrigued with the possible signs of swinging as they were with the possibility of swingers. Y'all, people think swingers have a lot of secret signs. Yes, people wondered about pineapples, but also upside down pineapples, but they also thought a sign could be a rock in a driveway, or was it 3 rocks? Or maybe white rocks, or wind chimes. Or maybe a sign that swingers live somewhere was a blue planter, or garden gnomes. I mean, are you maybe having a moment right now thinking about your own outdoor decor? Now, I had heard the rumor about swingers in Steiner Ranch from Evil Mopac. Anyone know who Evil Mopac is? Okay, for those of you who don't know who Evil Mopac is, he is a person who tweets as Mopac, like the road, on Twitter, and nobody knows who he is. And he is a persistent spreader of the Steiner Ranch swinger rumor on Twitter, and now his Substack and his podcast. So I invited him to drive around Steiner Ranch with me and look for signs of swingers. And he said yes. Which means that, yes, I have met Evil Mopac in person. But he didn't tell me his name. So I don't really know who he is. Okay, so we both showed up with our own lists of swinging signs, and they were mostly the things that I showed you before, except his also had pampas grass on it. So we started our journey, and just so you know, he asked me to change his voice witness protection style, and it also changed mine.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna drive slow.
Oh my God, there's one.
There's a green planter. That's not a blue planter. I'm not seeing any garden gnomes or pineapples.
Maybe this is the deep cover road.
Oh wait, look.
There's one.
Little blue planters.
Okay, that's it. Okay, yes, yep, we got one.
Okay.
We did it, high five.
Little
Okay.
blue, they're tiny though, but there were 5 of them.
Well, maybe that's an allegory, who knows?
Okay, so we never did see any pineapples, but while we were driving, Evil Mopac told me why he is such a persistent spreader of the Steiner Ranch swinger rumor. Turns out, he knew a guy who was hanging out at the Steiner Ranch steakhouse. And this guy met a couple, and they started chatting, and then the couple invited him back to their house, and they were like really persistent, and he ultimately declined. But unlike Rachel, Evil Mopac says he believes the rumors are 100% true.
I think this is a big-time swinger community, and I think a high percentage of the population, look at this, it's like rock, 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 rock. That basically just says, jump in my house with your wife, let's get partying.
But honestly, I still didn't know how I felt. And I didn't know that much about swinging, so it was time to go to the experts.
My name is John Melfi, and I own private social clubs for consensually non-monogamous couples and singles here in Texas and also in Louisiana.
John also has a podcast with his wife Jackie called Open Love 101, and they also coach couples who are interested in opening up their relationships. The club John owns in Austin is called Colette, and it's up in north central Austin, right north of Howard Lane. The area mostly caters to industrial warehouses and automotive shops. And John was nice enough to meet me there during the day, which is a weird time to be in any club. And I needed to define some terms, so I asked John to help me understand what we mean when we say swinger.
In a way, it would be a couple, and they want to open up their relationship in some way. And I say 9 times out of 10, they want to find a single woman to to be involved with. And it could be just sexually, it could be more than that. They may find, though, once they get involved, that they meet couples they want to hook up with, or maybe there's, at the party they attended, there's not really any single women, so they end up with a single man, and that works for them as well.
But John told me that the term swinger is like an out-of-date term that no one really uses anymore. If anything, people will say they're in the lifestyle, but I'm going to use the term swinger, otherwise the story is going to get very confusing. John says that along with polyamory and open relationships, swinging fits into this larger universe of consensual non-monogamy.
A lot of younger people dating today don't really want to be confined to just being with one person, and when you ask them what they are, they say, I'm just open. And so we see a lot of that, and those people coming to our clubs and reaching out to us.
But we are talking about swingers, and swingers, or people in the lifestyle, are typically heterosexual couples who invite people into their sexual relationship. These encounters tend to be less emotional and more recreational. And like John said, 9 times out of 10, they want to find a single woman to get involved with. And now it's time to define another term, because there is a name for this single woman.
The unicorn, yes.
This is my friend Miranda Wiley. She is an intimacy guide here in Austin and one of the few out polyamorous people that I know. And she told me what a unicorn is.
A unicorn is generally a single female that a couple will engage in sex with.
And unicorns are highly sought after. I mean, just look at the fee structure of John's club. So couples get in for $40 to $70. Single ladies get in for $10 to $20. Single men get in for $100 to $120. And y'all, single dudes aren't even allowed in on Saturday nights. Okay, so now we've met our experts and we know what swingers and unicorns are. So I asked John and Miranda if they had heard the rumors about there being a bunch of swingers in Steiner Ranch. And they had. Then I asked them if they had any confirmation that the rumors were true.
Everybody I know that lives in Steiner Ranch is not. It doesn't mean that there aren't some there.
Miranda even did research.
So I inquired with my sources who like to play the unicorn on occasion, and they said, I've never gotten any specific invites from Steiner Ranch. And so there you go.
And John and Miranda both told me the same thing about where swingers and other consensually non-monogamous people live.
I mean,
Y'all,
they
it's
can live
kind of
in
like
a trailer park
wait.
or in apartment complexes. Or
I mean, it's kind of like alligators. You may not think they live near you, but they're everywhere.
I mean, they can live in a trailer park or in apartment complexes or in middle-class neighborhoods or in, upper-class neighborhoods. I mean, it really runs the spectrum of what you see.
So to my expert's knowledge, Steiner Ranch isn't some kind of haven for swingers. Sorry, Evil Mopac. Okay, so then why does this rumor about Steiner Ranch and swingers exist? Well, to understand that, you have to look at the history of swinging, and I read a whole book about it. Interestingly, American swinging didn't start in some wild bohemian scene, but it started on military bases among World War II fighter pilots. 1 in 3 of them would die in combat, and so they shared spouses with the understanding that the men who lived would take care of the widows of the men who died. And then there was Robert McGinley.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert McGinley. It's a pleasure to spend a few moments with you. I have the pleasure of being president of the Lifestyles Organization.
The Lifestyles Organization was created by McGinley to normalize swinging. And he had a very specific view of what a swinger was. He said, "My whole life's message is this: you can be a middle-class, mature couple, responsibly married, yet free to responsibly enjoy your dreams." He talked to the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, ABC News, Elle Magazine, everyone, and he did it over decades. There was even a movie made about swinging that featured McGinley called The Lifestyle, Group Sex in the Suburbs, which I watched. Y'all, the vibe is heavily suburban and aggressively normal. Many of the people in this film identified as conservative. I'm going to show you a clip from the movie. The setting is the beginning of a swingers party, and just so you know, they're talking about their time at a recent swingers convention.
You didn't come to our seminar?
Well, he was giving his own.
Oh!
He was giving his own.
You were giving a seminar?
No, Hugh.
Oh! What seminar did you give?
Give one on power sex.
On power sex.
That's what I need is some sexual power.
Well, they have a bill
I
for
tell you
it.
what. Yeah, but I'm scared of those. I'm scared too.
I watched the whole movie, you guys. The majority of people in this movie, at least, were white, and like you saw, they were older. But remember, this is just a small part of a much larger, more complex picture. This was Robert's vision of what swingers were, and his mission was for it to be your vision, too. So this idea of swingers as married, middle-class, older white people who live in the suburbs, it's not an idea we just have. It was fostered by an actual years-long concerted PR campaign. So what does this have to do with the Steiner Ranch swinger rumor? Well, when you look at Steiner Ranch, you'll find that it's filled with middle-class older couples who live seemingly ordinary suburban lives. Y'all, this is the population that Robert McGinley wanted us to think were swingers. Okay, so now we know why we think Steiner Ranch is swinger heaven. But what about the pineapple? Is that really a sign of swinging?
Upside down pineapples for sure. But once again, I don't really know anyone that puts them in their front yard like that.
The pineapple as a swinging sign, that is real, y'all.
For fun, I put it upside down on my shopping cart just to see what happens. But no one's ever hit on me. Not because of the pineapple.
And now where does that come from? Well, a pineapple is a sign of welcome. So an upside down pineapple is a sign that you're like, really welcome. But Miranda reminded me of something after her interview, and that's that even though all these swinger signs might seem goofy, people who live outside of mainstream norms often need signs to signal to each other that they exist and that it's safe to be honest, especially when it comes to sex. In the 1900s, a bouquet of violets given from one woman to another might have signified interest in a relationship. In Oscar Wilde's London, green carnations were a signal of male queerness. And even in 2023, straying outside the lines of acceptable monogamy can be tricky. I mean, John and Miranda are out, but a lot of people who engage in consensual non-monogamy aren't. That's why you think they don't live near you. A lot of people still giggle at the idea of older white couples swapping partners, and they do more than giggle. They can judge people who engage in these alternative relationship styles really harshly. And I get it. It's a really compelling idea, right? That beneath the surface of a perfect suburban enclave, there's some freakiness going on. But I kind of think we could all learn from this community. For instance, people who live this lifestyle have these really deep relationships with consent. It is understood, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And being successful at consensual non-monogamy really necessitates deep honesty. You have to be in constant conversation about things like jealousy and desire and trust. And Miranda blew my mind when she talked about living a non-monogamous lifestyle.
We as people, we learn best in relation. And if you're in a monogamous relationship, you're basically in the same feedback loop a lot of times. And so when you get into other dynamics with other people, there's an opportunity to really learn about yourself. And then you can take that learning and bring it back to your other relationships.
Y'all, we need each other, especially now when everything feels like a crisis. We can't get through it on our own, and say what you will, but the people who engage in consensual non-monogamy, including swingers, well, they're expanding the pool of people that they can be open and vulnerable with. And I just think that even if we're not ready for the sex part of everything, we could all stand to increase our own circles of honesty, vulnerability, and care. And I know that's a long way from Steiner Ranch, but that's where I ended up. Thank you, guys.